Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Alex and I'm a nomadic online business manager where I help you with your project management, online business operations, and all things, remote business operations. And today we're going to be talking about how to assign tasks to your team. Now, I'm going to specifically talk about using ClickUp, but these tips can truly be used for any kind of project management tool. I personally recommend ClickUp because it's my fave, but you can apply these to Asana, Monday, whatever your preferred, whichever one you prefer to use, go for it. Yeah, so let's dive into some different tips for assigning tasks to your team because it really does make an impact on your day-to-day operations. Now, if you don't, quick note, if you do not have a team already, I strongly recommend still considering this, even if you're you probably aren't watching this video if you don't have a team, but even if you're still kind of in that solopreneur stage and you're considering hiring a team, getting into the habit of writing down and fulfilling out your tasks a bit more will be helpful. We'll dive into some specific tips shortly in a second, but start getting into that outsourcing energy, even if you're not already outsourcing. First tip for assigning tasks to your team is use the same formatting for a task when in the description. One thing I'm noticing when it comes to team members assigning tasks is they'll just kind of dump everything into a description and expect people to sort through it. Now, it's not impossible, right? It's not the worst thing in the world, but it does decrease efficiency because you have to find and you have to go through and integrate the information before you can complete the task, right? You have to kind of hunt through everything and figure where it's all out. Whereas if you consistently use the same formatting for a task description, specifically in ClickUp, it will help you create a repeatable framework for where your team knows to look for certain pieces of information. A simple framework I like to use in my task descriptions when I assign tasks to my team or my team, my clients' teams, is to use having a section where it's the task description. So you describe what the task is, what's the end goal of the task, reference the parent task if it is a subtask. And then the second section I recommend having is an important links section. This will be where all of the links that they need or might need. You might reference some SOPs here if you don't have some SOPs in the task. By having that repeatable framework of how you organize your task descriptions so people can go in and just quickly crank out the task, it will increase efficiency in your business. Tip number 2 is to link to an SOP inside of a task description rather than copy and paste it from where you store your SOPs. The main thinking behind this is you want to have, in essence, one place to have to update. This is a general operations management tip, is to have one single place to track your information. Literally no matter what it is, if you have to update it in multiple places, if you're storing data on anything or keeping any kind of tracker, if you have to update a place more than once, that's too many. You are introducing potential areas for inconsistencies in your operations, and we want to make sure to simplify it. First of all, simplify it, and second of all, just reduce the potential issues that come up with having duplicate versions of the same information. And specifically with SOPs, it's important to have only one place to store it and reference it and complete it, is because then if you have any outdated SOPs, it just removes that issue of having an outdated SOP all from the mix. And how I recommend doing this is having one master business manual document with all of your workflows. And then if there is any specific recurring task with that, or templates in ClickUp, then I recommend linking to those tasks or to those lists or wherever they're at inside of that document. So it's a very livable document rather than just a copy and paste word dumped on a page. So making it more of an integrated experience. Another tip I have for storing SOPs inside of ClickUp is storing them. So you can use the template setter. I don't personally love the template setter by itself. What I prefer is inside of a space in ClickUp, have all of your templates stored, and then have a separate have a separate color for that list and label that color holds templates. So you know that that's not a list of tasks, that is storage for processes, and it makes it a little bit easier to go in and update long term. This way, when you're like updating inside of with the template center, what I personally prefer doing is like duplicating it out of my template space, because then I can like see it. Whereas in the template center, there's no like preview. As of right now, there's no preview of what you're using inside of ClickUp, so it's a little tricky to know what is this the correct version that I want to use. So it's easier to just duplicate it from your SOP space. And then the final tip I have for you for how to assign tasks to your team is to empathize from their point of view. When you're assigning tasks to your team, it's incredibly important to have empathy for what their experience is. And this isn't like some deep emotional thing, well, it can be, but literally just thinking like, if I were them right now, do I have the information I need to complete this task? Like, would I understand what this means? Because sometimes it's we get lost in our heads and we get a bit, we just get so comfortable with what we already know that we forget to extend that, mental muscle to our team members and be like, do they have the information they need to complete this task? If they do, amazing, they'll complete the task and it's great, but it's always a good check to kind of put yourself in the team member's shoes just for a quick second. Think real quick, do they have everything they need? And this truly will come back to like how you manage projects as a whole in your business and like your general day-to-day operations. So yeah, those are my tips for how to assign tasks to your team members inside of ClickUp specifically. Well, I guess I did share quite a few tips that were ClickUp specific, but the general framework you can use in other project management tips. Every place has like a template thing. But what I definitely recommend is implementing these tips when you're assigning tasks to your team members. If you don't have a team yet, that's okay. I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you're interested in starting a team. So if you would have any questions about starting a team or managing a team, please feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will see you next week with more online business operations tips. Bye.